flowering plant. See, pretty common up here in northern New England. They look along the left side of tracks. Something called a grain dryer, and that revolutionized the grain shipping industry, allowing shippers to store their grain without it spoiling as it would. Take a trip back up here, visit relatives in Campton, and then one day in August of 1857 he climbed Mount Washington. Now the problem was that Sylvester knew nothing about the weather on this mountain as I've described in it, and he left the base on a perfectly nice summer August afternoon, and when he got above the trees, it was a totally different story, and he nearly succumbed to hypothermia because he wasn't prepared for it. But he lucked out because the first building had been built on the summit just a few years before that, called the Tip Top House, built in 1853. The Tip Top House is still up there today. You'll be able to see it when you get off the train. And so he was able to gain shelter and thereby save his life. And he spent the night there. When he woke up the next morning, he was greeted by deep blue skies, tremendous views in all directions. To the east out to the Atlantic Ocean, to the north up to Canada, to the west across northern Vermont, to the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York. And so he made a vow to himself right then and there to figure out a better way to get more people up the mountain to enjoy its beauty without risking their lives the way he had the day before. So eventually he thought up a way of adapting this rack and pinion technology to a railway. He needed to get a charter to be permitted to build the railway on the mountain. That required an act of the state legislature. So in 1858 he headed down to Concord, and there he encountered more than a the down mountain train approaching on the other track. As we pass it, it's a good opportunity to look underneath. You'll see the cogwheels engaging the rack to propel the train, as I was explaining earlier. And you see this water tank just ahead here. This is required for the steam locomotives. Those steamers need 1,000 gallons of water to make a single trip to the summit, but they can only carry about 700 gallons at a time. So each steam run has to make a stop here on the way up the mountain to top off the tender in order to complete the trip. And they also burn 1 ton of coal on a single trip, so a ton of coal and 1,000 gallons of water. The biodiesels burn between 16 and 20 gallons of biodiesel fuel on a single run. Destination in the off-season, when we can't go to the summit, generally late October to the beginning of May. For a reduced fare, passengers can come up here about a third of the way up the mountain. Still see the views to the west. Most of the time enjoy kind of a winter wonderland. We have a little campfire there and hot refreshments. We have a partial clearing here on the right. You'll get a sense of the Ammonoosuc ravine over here to the right, depending on where the cloud